Well, hey there, and welcome to this edition of B.E.P Talks, where wonderful people from all around the world, from at all ages and stages of life, all industries and professions, come to share their beliefs, their experiences, and their passions. B.E.P, B-E-P, beliefs, experiences, and passions. They come to educate, to motivate, to inspire, and they really accomplish all of those things. Today's guest is so relevant to everybody, especially here in the United States. You're going to find out why. This is a very special BEP talk that I have my paper and pen ready to take notes. You might want to grab one as well. So please welcome to the BEP Talk stage today at the Global Society of Empowered Women, my guest today, Nellie Williams.
Thank you, Beth.
Hey, Nellie, how are you? And welcome.
Thank
Welcome,
you.
welcome.
I'm great. How are you?
Yes, you are great. And I say that with total certainty because knowing what I've learned about you, what you shared about yourself, and you heard me say that you have a topic that is so important and relevant to all of us here in the United States. Um, we hear letters like ABC, XYZ. Those are fine. We hear IRS and our shoulders go up. Our heart beats a little bit differently. I want to say to the audience that Nellie is she has enrolled agent status with the IRS, the Internal Revenue Service of the United States Treasury Department. Is that correct? The IRS is part of the Treasury
They are.
Department? They are. Okay, good. Well, it just shows you the power that they have. Nellie is here to share with us what her experiences were working for the IRS for 5 years and going out and establishing her own business to take what she knew, her beliefs, experiences, and passions, and be of value and benefit to individual clients, small businesses, individuals, what have you. She comes to us today with 45 plus years of tax experience, knowledge, wisdom, clarity about the IRS. So that's why I said you might want to get a paper and a pencil. Mine is ready. Um, Thank you so much, Nellie, for joining me here today. We hear that people fear public speaking more than they fear death,
Yes.
which is a crazy thing, but we've all heard that. Where does the IRS stand on that of things that we fear?
Oh, they're at the top, I think, for most people. You know,
I think you're right. Well, they yield a lot of power and distance and duration, we know. So what was it that made you want to, when you left the IRS after 5 years of service, to start your own business?
when I first went to work for the Internal Revenue Service, someone said to me, Nellie, if you give them more than 5 years, they'll have you for life.
Oh,
And that memory triggered in at about 4.5 years worth of service. So that, oh, I gotta be submitting my statement to leave, but I really only gave them 2 weeks notice because
oh,
I thought that they would be um, taking retribution against me for
oh,
bailing. I was already in management, so they didn't want to leave. They didn't want to lose me, but I knew that it was time for me to go out on
yeah.
my own. So I I had zero clients, but quickly built 100 clients. I did anything I could to earn money that those first early years, legitimate money. Um,
Hmm.
so uh, and it just grew and grew and grew. We did marketing. Remember when there was yellow pages? They were those thick
Oh,
books.
yes. Oh, yes.
I was,
Yes.
yeah, they don't have them anymore, but and I grew by word of mouth and with through satisfied clients, which was great.
It's the best way to grow any
Yeah,
business is
the
by
best.
referral. You already have like a satisfied client. sometimes before you even say hello. So congratulations to you for doing that and for 40 years. That's incredible. I am ever amazed. I know that the IRX, the taxation, goes back to 1914, but it changes all the time. There's always new laws, new deductions, new rules and regulations. How do you keep up with all of that?
It's a challenge, but
Yeah.
it's part of the industry. And yes, things change, but I like to equate the Internal Revenue Service with your local police.
Oh,
They don't make the laws. Congress makes the laws.
mhm.
So it's your Congress people who are enforcing writing the laws, lots to benefit them and their families.
Oh, yes.
And we just benefit or suffer as as a consequence.
That was a very powerful statement you just made. I'm going to kind of leave it there. I don't want to get
No.
into that discussion. We'll just leave it there. But you did make that statement. We are on record.
So
So
the IRS is just enforcing the laws that have been handed down. And
the
every year
con
they do change.
they do change, and
Yeah.
we've heard, more recently. Now we're in 2026. A lot of things changing without, no taxing on tips and not taxing Social Security benefits. So those things you have to really stay on your toes all the time in your business.
Yes.
Yes, wonderful. And I know that you do because you can't be doing it for the length of time that you have. I think another word that scares a lot of people when we're talking about taxes is audit. How how does an audit come about, first of all?
An audit is basically the IRS has a question about something that you've reported or not reported on your tax return. So it's they want to know an answer to a question that they have, and they typically will reach out to you by letter, not by email, not by phone call, but by letter.
By letter. Oh, I'm
And
so glad you said that because so many scammers out there.
exactly,
And we get calls, and I know, your bank doesn't, there's a way that your bank, maybe it's different for each bank, but there's a way that your bank communicates with you. So only respond to something that comes in the mail from the IRS. And I guess there's a way of verifying the authenticity of even mailed items.
well, I don't know that scammers would spend the money to put something in the mail.
Oh,
You
okay.
know, they want to build their own pockets. They don't want to take money
Yeah.
out.
And they go
So,
after very vulnerable groups of the population.
yes,
So remember that, everybody. Phone calls, text messages, emails, ignore them. Correct, Nellie?
correct.
Ignore them.
And you can look at where is this email coming from? That's a dead giveaway that it's not from the government. Because
Mhm.
if you look at where the email address is, it's some screw up, you know.
Yeah, it's like a coded, yeah, it just doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah.
So mail only. So help us work through some of the things that we all can do, diligent consumers, to avoid the potential of the IRS asking a question. What are some of the things that we actively can do? And I'm not saying to do to get around it. I'm saying that we should be mindful of to make sure we do correctly.
Right. Thank you. I want to help everybody pay their lowest legal tax, not a penny more. And the way you do that is to report all of your income, except for that which is specifically not taxable. Claim only deductions that are allowable. And how do where are you getting your information? Is it from the beauty shop, the barber shop,
Oh,
the grocery store shoppers? Where are you getting your information? Claim what is allowable. And um, make sure that you're not leaving anything off or claiming things that are obviously not deductible. Like IRS wants to focus on excess charitable contributions. That doesn't mean don't be charitable. Just be
right.
able to document that this is going to a legitimate charitable group, how much you gave, Buying something from that charity, it does not lend itself to be a contribution. You're making a purchase. But when you
Wow.
give with no expectation of return, that's a contribution. So,
Got
yeah,
you. So it's simple thing. It's very logical in a way.
yeah,
Be very honest and provide good information. For years, I've had a home office. And I think perhaps I'm guessing, but I'm imagining that since COVID, that more people are working remotely or even, hybrid kind of jobs.
yes.
I remember hearing things about, oh, that's the best deduction to have a home office. And then other people said, oh, no, no, that's a flag. That's a red flag. The minute you say you have a home office, that's a red flag. Could you set us straight on that, please?
Lots of people are worried that home office could be a red flag, but I will share with you that as long as you're claiming it correctly, there's no problem. The key is it needs to be a specific space that is devoted entirely to business, not your spare bedroom that you'll work out of, and if you've got a guest, they're going to spend the night there. That disqualifies it.
Uh-huh.
But where you do your work and be able to document your square footage, and then you take the deduction that you're allowed. Now, there's a difference between having a business and having a hobby. A
Yes.
business is going to generate income. Yes, you might incur some expenses. A hobby generally does not generate income. It's a way for you to spend money. And that's especially a trigger for taxpayers with high income that are looking for a way to reduce it. So you don't
Oh,
want to try
okay.
to write off a hobby. That's going to be
Okay.
your invitation to an examination by the IRS.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Something else that I've heard, I would like you to clarify for me. Okay, April 15th, we all know the significance of that day, that you have to have filed, correct me when I'm wrong, if I'm wrong, you have to have filed your return. No, you have to have paid taxes if you owe them, but your return can be, what's the word? It can be
On extension.
on extension,
Yeah.
that the actual return doesn't have to be filed until October.
Correct. As long as the taxes are paid in full by April 15th. Well,
So
how do
go,
you
yeah.
how do you know? Well, you look at last year's return. How does it compare to what you've been doing this return that you're putting on extension? Did you make more money or not? Did you have more expenses or not? Did you actually complete your return? You just don't want to file it yet?
Hmm.
That's the best way to know. But many people are not really ready by April 15th. They need more time. So we're estimating, we're not guesstimating what their taxes might be. We're taking a deliberate look at what your tax might be so that we can pay in an amount that will keep you from having to pay penalties and interest.
Right.
Those are the
And
killers.
penalties and interest, my goodness, they roll up very quickly.
They do.
That
Yeah.
can be more than the tax that's owed, correct?
Yes. Because it's just a process of math, and the penalties might be able to be waived, but interest can never be waived by the IRS. It's by
Interesting.
law. Yeah,
So interest, you owe the interest, but the penalties could be negotiated.
correct.
Wow. I like that. If
Depending
it
on your
ever comes up, I
situation.
like knowing that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So going back to the, filing, actually paying in April, but putting it on extension, myth or truth? You're less likely to be audited if you file in October.
There could be truth to that, but there could also be red flags on that return that it wouldn't matter when you file it, it's going to trigger an inquiry.
Right,
But
right.
when you fi- and I don't want to keep people from filing early. A lot of people use their withholding as a savings account and count on that refund that they get as soon as they file their return. So they want to file early. But when you file early, you're in the pot for the IRS to pick from early. So But it won't be this year. It will be a year later because they're never on time.
They're never on time.
No,
But they never go away.
they never go away. And
And as you say, the interest is always still, that meter is always running.
if it applies, yes.
Yeah, if it applies. Yes, thank you for qualifying that. Is it true? I mean, the IRS, I mean, which is, I think, why we shudder. A lot of people, when they hear the IRS, um, can the IRS actually seize assets if you owe back taxes?
You have to be pretty egregious in not being current in your payment. But yes, if you have ignored their collection notices, ignored their efforts to allow you to pay, they can seize property, bank accounts. Yeah, that's part of the collection division of the IRS.
My gosh, I remember years ago, oh my God, too many years ago to remember when actually, they can take everything except your bed and your Bible. Is that true?
I'm not sure about that. I never really worked in the collection division. So, but that's if they're going to seize your house, where are you going to put your bed? You can carry your Bible with you, and I hope you always will. But yeah, it's you got the clothes on your back. I
Yeah,
I don't know how far they can go because I have not worked in that division.
yes.
So,
So I think today in the AI world and high tech world, you kind of get a sense that Big Brother really is watching. Remember, from the books of years ago, which seemed like they were never going to get there, that Big Brother really is watching. How much does the IRS always kind of have an eye on us?
they know because people who pay you have to report to the Internal Revenue Service because the people who pay you want to take a deduction for their expense. So you've
True.
got W-2s, you've got 1099s, you've got documents that the IRS can say, okay, Nellie
True.
should be reporting X amount of dollars from this many 1099s or W-2s or whatever. Did she do that? And if she
Mm,
did, great. And if she didn't, we want to talk to you.
why
So,
not? Yeah. I think a lot of the points that I'm trying to make here, well, that I am trying to make here, is that we hear things and maybe we don't want to ask a lot of questions. Or to an earlier point that you made, Nellie, we don't know who to ask. Are we asking, the woman who cuts your hair or does your nails or services your car or whatever? There are experts like yourself who should be consulted with to make sure that the I's are dotted, the T's are crossed, and you are to the greatest extent possible mitigating the odds, the chances of being audited.
yes, there are a lot of good sources for information, but I will tell you that in any industry, there's a likelihood of a bad apple.
Oh,
There
yes, that's
there
true.
are wrongdoers in my field. There's wrongdoers in every industry. How do you know? Well, when I was working for the IRS, I used to see this one CPA come in often during 2 weeks. And I pulled him aside one time. I said, Alan, I've seen you a lot here these last couple of weeks. Can I ask you what's going on? He said, well, if I don't have at least 10% of my clients being audited, I'm not aggressive enough on their tax returns. And I thought to myself, holy cow, I don't want to be your client because you're pushing the envelope beyond
Yes,
the
yes.
place where it breaks. So, and how do those clients know? Well, when they get audited. So,
Wow, what a perspective to have on his own
yeah,
business and the role he plays, an important role in the life of individuals, families, businesses. Wow.
yeah,
Wow. He wants to know that he's pushing the envelope as far as he can. And I know that we want to feel that our tax advisors, our accountants, whatever, are doing the best job for us,
yes,
but within boundaries, reasonable, levels, etc., so that you stay under the radar and not shine the light brighter than it needs to be shined
Yeah.
or shown, whatever the word might be, on your return. So tell us about the type of clients that you serve now in your private practice.
Most of my clients are individuals and small business owners. They've been clients, some from the very first year I've had. Um, and I provide them with a questionnaire every year that will help them remember what they need to bring to me. I like to sit down with them at my desk rather than have them mail it in, or
Yeah,
although I can work anywhere in the United States across the country. In person is what I like, even though we could Zoom, and I have done Zoom calls too, but I ask for the information, they give it to me. It's very good use of time. We get to communicate on a personal basis, and they walk out if they've got everything I need with a completed return that same appointment.
yeah.
Uh, yeah,
And I want to say Zoom, in today's world, this is as good as in person, in my opinion.
it is.
I mean, you and I, here we are talking face to face, person to person. Um, so to expand your reach, if you will, that it is possible to do a perfectly good, valid tax return when you meet with your advisor, just the way you and I are meeting today.
Yes.
Yes, it is. And that's how I do it now with it's funny, the guy I've been dealing with for many, many years, I met him in New York, and then he was in Florida, but he would go up to New York during tax season because he had so many clients up there. Now we're both in Florida. So you just kind of, not that we're following each other or anything like that, but you kind of get attached to somebody. As you said, you have clients who have been with you since the beginning. You're talking decades.
Yes, yes, over 40 years.
Over,
And I've got clients that use the same words but ask a different question. Nellie, you're not going to retire, are you? Or Nellie, you're not going to retire, are you? You know,
oh,
they don't want me to retire. And I tell them as long as I can do the job well, and as long as I'm doing a good job, I'll do this until I can't.
how
And a
wonderful.
lot of us work, well into our older years.
Well, it's wonderful as long as you say
Yeah.
you keep up on the changes year to year and the code and what you have to be up to date on. You're doing a great job. So, individuals, small
Business.
businesses,
Yeah.
which I would think would mean coaches, consultants, people who have, smaller home-based businesses would
Or
qualify.
service-based business. Yeah.
Service-based businesses, smaller
Yeah.
businesses. What's considered a small business today? Is it defined by revenue?
The IRS will say less than $500,000 in revenue, but personally, I'm not looking for corporate clients. That's outside of my area of expertise and time to be able to devote. I'm looking for people that might have a business that feeds themselves and their family rather than work for someone else.
Right,
Perfectly
right,
fine. Keep your
right.
records. I read something the other day. You can't book what you don't keep for bookkeeping. I thought that was very good. You've got to keep your records. And as long as you've done that and you can provide me with the information, money in and money out, then we're good to go.
So what about receipts? Because if you have bank statements, debit card statements, what have you, and you can show it on line items, are those entries as good as having a receipt?
To be honest with you, no. Your credit card statement will show that you made a purchase at, let's say, Walgreens. Well, if you spent $100 at Walgreens, what was it for? Did you have medications? That's not on the $100 debit from your credit card. Did you have candy or greeting cards or makeup or toys? They sell everything at Walgreens. Um, so if the receipt will show what did you actually buy?
Okay. But let's say, just to push the point a little bit, on your statements, you show what you pay for the privilege of having Zoom, what you pay for AOL, what you're paying for different types of professional subscriptions, supplies. As long as you have those line items on a statement, is that considered a receipt?
Well, once again, supplies. You know, if you're buying something from an office supplies store, they sell more than just office supplies. They,
Okay.
so
So
what
what
is
I'm
it that you're
hearing,
buying?
yeah, what I'm hearing is keep very, very good records. And I think a word of advice for everybody, certainly I've learned it myself. Don't wait until, you know, January 31st when you start getting reports from people you may have done consulting with or earned any money from, what have you, or certainly till April Fool's Day, because then you will be a fool. Um, Keep track of it. And I know for me, monthly statements, anything that I have for travel, let's say, that I can put in that's a business expense, I put it in with that month's statement so that you have it. How long do you have to keep these records these days, Nellie?
The IRS will tell you very vaguely, as long as they're relevant. Well, so you could buy something today for your house, for example, and a major improvement. You're going to want to keep that as long as you own your house until, and then you're, once you sell the house, you're going to want to keep it for at least 4 years after the sale. Most of us, depending on the state that you live in, IRS will want it for at least 3 years.
Three.
I'm in Arizona. They add 1 more year. California adds 2 more years. But it's so if you look at the year that you incurred it and 3 years, that's 4 years.
Okay, true.
Plus Arizona's five. So
I remember thinking, because I'm going through things in my own office now, I'm like, oh my gosh, I do not need the tax information from 2013 anymore. You know, I can get rid of that. Um, can't I?
you can certainly get rid of the backup documentation, but I I like to keep my copies of my tax returns forever. Why do I do that? It's just something that I think the return could become important in the future that I'm not aware of. Um,
Oh, okay. Okay.
so I've got it, and I'm the only one that will have it. You would be the only one that would have it. The IRS won't really be able to access it after a certain amount of time because they've got it stored in some mountain
Sure.
vault.
Yeah. Yeah.
But to be able to get to it is out of the
Oh,
question.
you know, I do this vision thing. I say, you know, coming around April 15th and through October, well, really all year round, as you say, what must be going on as far as cross-referencing documents and K-1s that can come in very late? You know, a company, if you have any kind of earnings from as a shareholder, K-1s can come in
Yes,
rather late. Um, like, how do they match all that? It's incredible. It's incredible. But apparently, they are doing a very, very good job of it. And proof of that, my friends, is listening to Nellie Williams today. There's a reason for everything, and there are ways to be proactive to not to cheat and skim and scam. It's to make sure that you are doing everything legitimately, that you put up no red flags, and it differs state to state. So if you're moving state to state, you know, which so many people now are relocating throughout the United States, bear that in mind. If you are looking for a tax advisor, and I'm going to say this, if you're perhaps beginning to take care of this essential activity on an annual basis for the very first time. Perhaps you've lost a spouse who used to take care of all of this, and now you're doing it, and you're kind of in the dark a little bit. You need to speak with someone who knows what they are talking about. That's Nellie Williams. This is why I felt it's so important to do a BEP Talks along these lines because of the information, the knowledge, wisdom of 45 plus years of being in business and keeping up to date on all of the changes that happen every year, that happen every year. If you are stuck as to who to go to, reach out to Nellie Williams. And I'm hazarding to guess, Nellie, you operate at such a level of high integrity that if you can't help them or you're not the best person, you're going to let them know
Yes,
and you'll send them on to perhaps a better resource. But I think you're probably always going to be a great resource.
thank you.
Tell us about, well, thank you for shedding such a bright light on all of this. In addition to the private clients that you have, individuals, small service businesses, as you mentioned, talk to us a little bit about the kind of workshops that you're now offering. I think that's fantastic.
Thank you. It's a new venture for me, but it's based on what I know. I'm going to be offering an 8-week coaching program, a group program on how to reduce your anxiety, your tax uncertainty, um, learn what you need to know to protect yourself. And no matter who does your tax return, doesn't have to be me, but it's sort of like when you drive a car, your parent didn't just throw you the keys and say, here's my $10,000, $20,000 car. Go out, have a good time. Don't wreck it, and I'll see you later. No, you go to classes, you learn behind the wheel so that you're comfortable with what you're doing. And that's what I want to make my clients in this course comfortable with their tax situation. So they're no longer wondering, am I doing the right thing? You know,
Yeah, it's such practical advice. And you say, sleep well at night, not be wondering for how long the IRS is looking at you or can
yeah.
come back to you. Um, I also know from personal experience in my family, if there is a really traumatic situation, a health situation, and you begin to incur very, very high medical bills, and it's a way that it kind of shifts, expenses and income, especially if you're in retirement and you might be relying on Social Security and limited income. How important that has to be, Nellie, to keep track of all of that.
You never know until the end of the year whether what you have available to itemize is going to be greater than the standard deduction or not.
Right.
So you need to keep everything all year long, tally it up at the end of the year, and then compare so that you are not cheating yourself. You don't want to cheat the government, but you don't want to cheat
No,
yourself either.
no, no.
So
So you mentioned something. You said standard deductions. How wise is it to just take standard deductions for medical expenses, etc.?
it depends on the amount. If your standard deduction is more than what all of your legitimate itemized deductions could total, then you take the standard deduction because it's better for you. There's no harm in that. And you can change every year, depending on which is better for you.
Yeah.
But right now, the standard deduction is very generous. So most people are doing that. If you're in business, however, you've got a different schedule to file and you've got business income and business deductions. You definitely want to keep track of that.
You mentioned earlier in this conversation about charitable donations. What about a standard deduction for charitable donations?
There really is no standard deduction for
No?
charity. However, I will tell you that um, one of the changes in the tax laws are that currently you can claim charitable contributions. I think it's up to $1,000 that you can verify on top of the standard deduction. So you're not um, forced to itemize in order to claim those charitable contributions.
Okay. Okay. So there are so many lanes to stay in, to stay
Yes.
in great integrity, to stay in an honest return, to allow yourselves to sleep peacefully at night, not to be worrying, and and to hope that you stay out of an audit. To do that, my friends, reach out to Nellie. We're going to be giving you all of her contact information below. And I invite you, I encourage you, if you have any angst about how to do a tax return, and I'm going to guess, I'm a do it yourself kind of person in many ways. Never with a tax return. Never with a tax return. Know what you don't know, and go to an expert. Wouldn't you advise that, Nellie?
Yes, thank you, Beth.
Yes. And here's a great a great expert. Again, all of her contact information, including how to be in touch with Nellie for that 8-week workshop. Does that start at any particular time that we should just make mental note of?
It's going to begin in the fourth quarter this year, never during tax season. I'm totally focused on taxes. But it's going to be information that will help you prepare for this upcoming tax season.
Beautiful,
Yes.
beautiful. So we will give you that information. I just want to say to everybody, the advice that we've heard today is so important. And I hope and I truly believe that many questions that people might not have even thought to ask have been asked and answered with great, as I keep saying integrity, but that's such a powerful word, but with truthfulness, and to keep yourself with no red lights, no red flags. Keep the IRS, make them your friend, make them your friend. So, Nellie, I thank you so much. I thank, as always, our viewing and listening audience. Again, Nellie's information for contacting her will be included below. And Nellie, I can't thank you enough for
Thank you, Beth.
sharing the wisdom that your 45 plus years in tax services has been of such great value to all of us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. My
Thank
pleasure.
you. Our pleasure. Thank you. And as I always say, at BEP Talks, everybody has something to share: wisdom, beliefs, experiences, and passions. Come take center stage on BEP Talks and shine a light on others, inspire, motivate, educate, even if you want to just entertain. Go to beptalks.com for more information. And as we always say, thanks for listening. And until we talk again, may the best always be yet to come. Bye for now.